The Elves and the Shoemaker. There once lived a poor old shoemaker. One day, after cutting some leather, he said,
"This piece of leather can only make one pair of shoes. Tomorrow, I will make my last pair of shoes."
The old shoemaker gave out a loud sigh. Then, he put the leather on the table and went off to bed. A few minutes later, sounds could be heard from his shop.
"We will cut the leather, we will sew, and we will hammer. We are the shoemaking elves."
There were 2 elves, each the size of a finger. They jumped up onto the table and made a beautiful pair of men's shoes. Before dawn came, they disappeared. The next day, the shoemaker was surprised. On top of the table were the brand new beautiful men's shoes.
That's strange. I'm sure I only cut the leather last night."
The old shoemaker shook his head. He noticed that the shoes were well sewn. His wife could not have made them. She did not know how to make shoes. Just then, a wealthy man came into the shop.
"I've never seen such beautiful shoes before. I will buy them right away."
The wealthy man tried them on, and they fit perfectly. He was so happy, he paid double the price. The old shoemaker smiled with happiness. He bought double the amount of leather. After he measured the leather, he went to sleep. As the old shoemaker and his wife slept deeply, a sound could be heard in the shop.
"We will cut the leather, we will sew, and we will hammer."
The shoemaking elves had appeared again. They jumped up onto the table and finished making 2 pairs of beautiful shoes. Once again, before dawn came, they disappeared. The next day, the old shoemaker could not believe his eyes. On top of the table were 2 beautiful pairs of women's shoes. Just then, 2 women came into the shop.
Wow, those are the most beautiful shoes I've ever seen.
Both pairs of shoes were sold for a high price. The old shoemaker could buy a lot more leather now.
I wonder if the shoes will be there again tomorrow.
He measured the leather and went off to sleep. That night, in the shoemaker's shop,
"We will cut the leather, we will sew, and we will hammer. We are the shoemaking elves."
again, the elves jumped up onto the table. They finished making 4 pairs of shoes and disappeared before dawn.
Wow! The shoes are there again!
The old shoemaker yelled out the next day. On top of the table were 4 pairs of excellent shoes. A whole family came into the shop and bought all of them. The next day, and the day after that, the elves continued to make shoes. The shoes were always sold for a high price. The old shoemaker and his wife soon became rich. The old shoemaker and his wife were very curious. Who was making these shoes? So, one day, a few days before Christmas, they hid and waited. In the middle of the night, elves, each the size of a finger, appeared. The elves made more shoes and then disappeared. The old shoemaker and his wife's mouths were open wide in disbelief. The old shoemaker and his wife were very thankful to the elves.
They don't even have clothes to wear during this cold season. I want to give them some clothes and hats.
As soon as she spoke, the old shoemaker also said,
I will make them shoes.
The shoemaker's wife began to make clothes for the elves, and the old shoemaker made shoes. Soon, Christmas came. On top of the table were clothes and shoes for the elves.
Wow, these must be for us.
Ah, the clothes are really warm.
The shoes fit well.
We are shoemaking elves.
Wearing the new clothes and shoes, the elves ran here and there. After some dancing, they soon disappeared. The elves did not come back to the shop, but the old shoemaker's shop was always full of customers. Where did the elves go? Did they go somewhere else to make more shoes?